Hello, welcome to the Live at 5. And you may not want to be reminded of this, but it's actually less than a month to go until Christmas. So, what I thought I'd do today is share a little video about getting ready for Christmas if you're in private practice. And so, obviously, even if you are not someone who celebrates Christmas, you may well be someone who experiences perhaps a slowdown during the festive period. And so, this is really what I wanted to talk about today, because December can be one of those months where it is actually quite a struggle to get that income coming in. And, so many of us do rely on our private practice income that I thought it might be helpful to have a little bit of a chat about how we can help ourselves during Christmas. And the reason this came up was I was talking about it to my therapy growth group, who are my paid members that work with me. And we were having a planning session yesterday, and I'm obviously planning for December. So that's why it came up. So I've got a few things to cover as we go through this video. I can see there's a couple of you are joining me live now. So I'm going to pop the comments on. Do feel free to say hello if you're watching me. And if you're watching on the replay, please pop #replay into the comments, and then I know who's been watching along with me. So we're going to talk a bit about keeping clients engaged, retaining clients, managing our cancellations, because I don't know about you, but certainly over the Christmas period, I've found this happens quite a lot. Talk about marketing, and then we'll talk about stuff for you as well. So first off, let's have a think about client engagement and retention. So it's easy for people to begin to drop off because they get busy, and suddenly therapy can start feeling less important. And with best will in the world, if you've got a lot on, sometimes therapy tends to take a bit of a back seat. So I think really it's really important, first off, to communicate your expectations and your availability as well. And that's the reason why I've chosen to do this talk this week as opposed to the week before Christmas, because you need to be thinking about this now. You need to be talking to your clients. You need to be reminding them of your cancellation policy at this point before they sort of start cancelling. And you might also like to think outside the box. So, in order to help clients see a bit more of you, could you be a bit more flexible just for the Christmas period? So, you might sort of think to yourself, well, I don't normally work on a Thursday evening, but perhaps for this Christmas period I will, because that will make it easier for people to see me, or open up on a Saturday morning. If you've got some flexibility there that you can build into your schedule, it might be that could really help clients, and you could communicate that to them in advance. And so if they've got things on, they can fit in with you. The other thing you might like to think about, and this is slightly more controversial, I don't know what you'll think about this, please feel free to comment, is to introduce some holiday packages or discounts. So to keep people engaged over the holiday period, you might like to think about offering a discount. And this might attract new clients as well. You could do it as a sort of holiday special. You could also maybe do something where people can buy someone a therapy session. That's just a sort of little way of increasing engagement. You could do something really different. You could have a wellness check-in. I know when I've talked to my supervisor, she said, well, I don't really work over Christmas, but I do open for a couple of days in case anybody needs it. And you could do something a bit different. I'm just going to drop that into your thoughts. You could do some sort of wellness check-in. So this would be not a hugely long session, but just a chance for your client to make contact with you and maybe have a bit of a check-in with you over the Christmas period, especially if you've got people where you think, it's quite a long time for them between when you stop work and the new year, perhaps. Now we'll move on to cancellations. So obviously I've already mentioned about, now is a good time to remind people about your cancellation policy. And also you might like to start introducing maybe some temporary changes just to cover the Christmas period. So perhaps you could say, um, you could be a little bit more flexible in your cancellation. So maybe and it really depends on you and how much flexibility you've got in your timetable. But as you can tell, I've got a bit of a cold today. So I was due to go and see my chiropractor this morning, and I phoned them up and said, I'm not really sure I'm well enough to come. And they said, well, we will charge you the full fee, but you can actually book in. If you book in within the next couple of days, that's absolutely fine. You can come in and we won't charge you the fee. And you'll actually get you'll get an appointment, and you won't have to pay the fee and not see the chiropractor. In fact, I just went in the end. It was easier. But the fact that that was there meant that it sort of took the pressure off me a little bit, and meant that I could, if I'd really had been feeling really poorly, I could have waited another couple of days. So that's just something that perhaps you might introduce, or could think about introducing, maybe for the sort of winter period, possibly. And another really obvious thing to say is to offer virtual sessions. So that might be, although you would probably mainly see people face to face, you could begin to reintroduce virtual sessions perhaps. That might help clients who are, say, traveling, or it may help you if you're traveling as well. So that's sort of something you could think about. And as well, if you're not already doing it, again, it may be something that you introduce for this festive period, is that you get people to pay up front, and just, you could, explain to the clients, I'm going to do a prepayment for the next 6 weeks because I find so many people cancel. And it's just something else that you can do to make sure that you're looking after your income during this time. And I've already mentioned, in terms of marketing, you could do some festive promotions. So you could do, say, discounts for new clients at this time of year. One of the things you could do is you could say, get booked in now so that you're ready to start in January. You could do it as beat the January rush. A lot of people come forward for therapy in January. Book in now, and you could take a deposit for their first payment, and they're committed, and they'll start with you in January, and that might help a little bit in bringing some more money in over the festive period. The other thing you can do is, I've mentioned about gift vouchers. I've seen another therapist do gift vouchers. You could market that. You could say, buy the gift of therapy for someone. You could mention that to your clients. Is there anybody who might be willing to give you the gift of therapy and pay for a session, something like that. But also, as well, in your marketing, you could share your end of year reflections and talk about all the ways in which you've enjoyed working with clients, and summarize sort of what your year's been like in terms of your practice, what you've enjoyed about it, how much you appreciate your clients, sort of showing gratitude. And that helps to create a positive buzz around your sort of festive marketing. And the other thing to mention is, if you're on social media, is it's time to have a little think about how you want to manage your social media as well. So are you going to stop completely, or you could reuse perhaps posts from last year, because that will save you time. If you're going to carry on, you could get them scheduled now so that they're already ready to go. If you're on Facebook or Instagram, obviously you can use the Meta Business Suite to schedule your posts in advance. So that might be something you'd like to be thinking about at the moment. So that's all the stuff to do with your practice, and the ways in which you can try and keep your clients coming in and keep the income coming in. So let's just have a little sideways step now and just think a little bit about you. And one of the things you could do is, sometimes you will get cancellations. So perhaps it's also time to be thinking about your CPD and how you could use, maybe if it is getting quieter as people get busier or as they finish, is to actually think about, what CPD do I want to be doing? And you could use this time as a bit of a chance. You could shut yourself away, still use those sessions that you've got. So if you'd normally work 4 sessions on a Monday afternoon in a particular room. You could take yourself off and do your 4 hours, but instead of doing counselling, you're actually doing your CPD. So you could read, you could study, you could update your skills. So that's something, a little something to think about. Networking, if there's any Christmas events going on, and social events, that might be a good chance to network with people so that you can get referrals in the future. So keep an eye out for those. Um, and then, as well as that, last but not least, is the idea of self-care for you as well. It is a really busy time of year. So how are you going to look after you? I've got in the therapy growth group in just over a week's time, on the 11th of December, Eve Menendez-Cunningham is coming in to talk to us about seasonal self-care, because that felt really important to include that within the group to help people look after themselves during this festive time. So how are you going to look after you? And again, that might be something you'd like to plan now and to have a real think about. How am I going to look after me during the festive season? And it could also turn into a post or a blog post where you talk about self-care and how your clients can look after themselves as well. And then the other thing at this time of year is we're beginning to think about the new year, aren't we? We're beginning to think about how we might like to set out in 2024. So this can be a really great time to just have a time of reflection, have a think to yourself about all the things that you're proud to have achieved this year and what you would like to see develop into the next year. And again, in Therapy Growth Group, that's what we're going to be doing in January. So I hope that that has given you a few little tips as to how you can prepare yourself for the festive period for your private practice. And, I'll be back in the next few weeks. I'll still be here, but I thought I'd cover the Christmas stuff now. And do feel free to send me a message if you'd like to know any more about my Therapy Growth Group. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.